Sam's going to have something that is great today for any day, whether it's a holiday or just a day when you want a really good meal. What we're going to have is some chicken. This is chicken breast, so it's boneless, and it was on sale, $1.99, and the total price for 4 pieces, $9.08. But since I had my card, I saved $5.46, got it for $3.62 at Kroger. So I'm going to have, and by the way, what's the size of this here? It's that weight, almost 2 pounds, 1.82 pounds. So getting a lot of meat. Going to have some cabbage in with it. This is going to be a pressure cooker meal. Pressure cooking is a way of really making everything, vegetables and meat, come out very tender. Going to have some carrots. Going to have a bit of onion, and for me that means probably 1 whole onion. 3 potatoes. I'm not going to eat all this in one day. This is going to be meals for 3 days by the time I get done with it. I'll pressure cook everything first, and then I'll put the leftovers in the refrigerator in the pressure cooker. I've got a space in there for them. So what I'm going to do is load up the pressure cooker with about 3/4 of a cup of water and chop up all the vegetables and put in the meat and let it start cooking, and let it cook for about an hour, and then we'll come back and take a look at that pressure cooker. Let's get started. And parents, be sure to keep your kids away from the pressure cooker. It has a weight on top. If you lift it a little bit, it lets out some of the steam inside, but I'm going to let the steam build up. It's been cooking for about 20 minutes or so. And a lot of pressure builds up there, and the meat gets very tender, and same with the vegetables. But definitely, parents, keep kids away from the stove when you're using a pressure cooker, and keep them away from the stove anytime you got the stove turned on. My old style of pressure cooker makes a little bit of noise, and the weight on top moves around a bit. What I'll do is let it continue with the heat for about 4 or 5 minutes. I'm going to turn the heat off and let it slowly cool down on the inside. It will be great tasting food. And I have removed the lid according to the directions that came with the pressure cooker, which is what I always do. And the food is still very, very hot. The liquid was boiling as I removed the lid. And remember, parents, keep the kids away from the stove. And this is one of the pieces of chicken. It is very, very tender. You can cut it with a spoon. And the vegetables are all very well cooked. Cabbage, carrots, potatoes, onion. And what I will do, I'll eat some of this today. Then I'll put the pressure cooker in the refrigerator in the spot I've got there, and let it stay overnight. Have it again tomorrow. Have more of the vegetables and the meat, and probably won't add anything to it because there'll be plenty of leftovers here for food tomorrow. And then the day after tomorrow, I'll use the liquid, which is very flavorful with the meat flavor and the vegetable flavorings, and I'll use that with pasta. It will be very, very good, and I'll try a little taste of this right now, and I know it's going to be very, very hot. It is hot. It is good. The flavors mix together when you cook with a pressure cooker. Let it cool a little bit. A very good meal, a very nutritious meal, a very low cost meal. It takes a while to fix it with a pressure cooker, but the first day might take an hour to get the food ready to eat, but the second and third days you just warm it up and it's ready to go. The one secret ingredient here that I would reach for, what it is biscuits. Had some biscuits left over from another meal I had yesterday, so. And biscuits are low cost. Now they come out to about a nickel each, I think it is. 10 biscuits in one of the little tubes that they package the biscuits in. So you have 10 biscuits that cost 2 for $1.50 each. So 10, 1/10, one biscuit, 1/10 of the tube is a nickel. This is so tasty. I hope you try it sometime. Pressure cooked meat comes out very tender. I'll dip the biscuit into the juice. Not a gravy, but it's very flavorful. I'll tell you a Hollywood story or two. I'll tell you about Claude Akins first of all. Claude Akins was on the series The Misadventures of Sheriff Lobo. I worked with him on that at least half a dozen times, plus once on BJ and the Bear. Claude was very nice to work with. He always played the part of a bad guy. He was in a couple of my favorite movies. He was in Rio Bravo with John Wayne, and he was in the TV movie The Night Stalker with Darren McGavin. He was in a lot of other movies. And one of the things that Claude would do when we were on location, we'd have a catered meal. Catering truck would come out. Time for a beverage. Story will be continued. Root beer. Root beer is becoming my favorite beverage. More of the chicken. And we'd be on location with Claude Akins, and when it was getting near chow time, about 5 minutes away from whatever the designated time was that we would be eating lunch, Claude Akins would say, I'm out of here, see you later. He would leave. Then later we'd get in line to go to lunch, and there would be Claude Akins with a chef's hat on. He'd be serving the stew or the steaks or whatever it was we were having that day. He would get up in the catering truck and start serving the food. He loved being, I guess, everybody's uncle. He liked to serve food to people from a catering truck. This is good. This is good. This is good. This is good. Ricardo Montalban was a wonderful person to be with on a set. One of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. He had an injury. Back in 1951, he was making a movie called Across the Wide Missouri. fell from a horse, and he was trampled by another horse. He was unconscious when he suffered spinal injuries that would last him for the rest of his life. In the last few years of his life, he was in a wheelchair. And I guess he was in pain all the time from 1951 on. I worked with him in the 1980s. He was still the most pleasant person I think I've ever worked with. Ricardo Montalban was in Fantasy Island. He did a lot of Chrysler Cordoba commercials. And he was in lots of movies. And he's one of those people in Hollywood that nobody says anything bad about. Ricardo Montalban, Michael Landon, Bill Bixby, Elvis. I did know one person who said something bad about Elvis, but I would guess that that's a compliment coming from him, because the person who said it was not likely to say anything good about anybody. Biscuits good. It is very possible today to eat well for a low price. If you cook at home, especially if you cook a meal that has potatoes as one of the main ingredients, you can serve up a good meal for $2.50. Should say $2.50 per serving. We are very lucky here in the United States to have so much good food available at a low price. Another biscuit. I'll recommend for any of you who are planning a career in show business to go for it. Most people who dream about show business don't do anything to make the dream come true. They stay where they are doing what they do. You have to go places and do things. If there's an open mic event happening near where you are and you want to get into show business, go to the open mic. Stand up, do a comedy routine, sing a song, play guitar, learn how to do that. If they don't have a open mic show where you live, create one. Go to a local saloon or restaurant or bookstore and set up an event where you're the MC for an open mic. You have to do things to get results. I left Louisville, Kentucky because I wanted to be in movies. They made movies in Los Angeles. They didn't have a big movie making industry in Louisville, Kentucky. It took me a long time to get into movies. But I had fun. I was in movies, I was in radio, did some stand-up comedy shows, had a recording company. This is good, it's cooling down now. And if you do want to get into show business, get an act. Don't just say, I want to be in your show. Become somebody who does something. It's easy to learn how to play piano or guitar, but it takes time, so I encourage you to do that. A part of this big potato. Two hunks of potato. I think potatoes were $3.49 for 10 pounds. 35 cents a pound. I want to thank all the subscribers. I've been getting lots and lots of subscribers recently. And I want to thank the subscribers to my other channel, Feature Man Stocks. It's a channel where I talk about the stock market. I have a carrot, I have some chicken, and I have some biscuit on this particular spoonful of food. To keep this from becoming too long a video, I'll show you my dessert. I will taste it. Remember, this food will last now for 3 days. I put it in the refrigerator, have food for tomorrow, then have food for the day after tomorrow. This is butterscotch pudding. That looks good. Butterscotch is a good flavor. Very good food. Time for a little bit more of a beverage with a root beer. Some more pudding. Thank you for watching.